Mr. Troutman has put together one of the most comprehensive programs I've ever seen, beginning with detox. When you put that first foot through the door to make the change in your life, and then he has the meetings, he has a clean and sober living so that people can have a safe environment in which to begin their new journey into life. You know, we all come here in a very precarious position, and now, you know, you got hope. And then he has a recovery program which is separate from the detox and from the clean and sober living. It's a 30-day or 60-day program where folks can go and learn the basics of what sobriety is all about. I think he's done an absolutely wonderful job, and it's been a great servant to a lot of people. I've heard over 5,000 people have been through his program.
Hi, my name is Troutman. I'm the founder and CEO of Clean and Sober Living. I got sober in 1985, and I was one of those people that didn't fit into a 12-step meeting that easily. I was actually an intervention. But that was good for me because that gave me a head start when I started going to 12-step meetings. But I still had 22 and a half hours in the day after I went to an hour and a half meeting, which I had to occupy my time. What I did is I lived with other people who were clean and sober, and that helped me out tremendously. My brother didn't have these same options. He died from a drug overdose in 1986. 1989, after several years of research, I officially started Clean and Sober Living. Basically what I do here is I provide for other people what I needed for me to stay clean and sober. We'd like to show you around, so follow me. We'll give you a tour. You know, back when I was drinking, there were a lot of times I probably should have got clean and sober, but I just couldn't do it. I remember one time specifically, I went to a 12-step meeting. I was there for about 15 minutes and I decided to leave. I went across the hallway, got a haircut instead. You know, I just wasn't one of those people that could go into a meeting and just sit there and become a part of. So when I went to treatment and I got that 28-day treatment program, I felt a lot better. I felt like I could fit in a little bit better. Plus I was living with other people who were clean and sober. So I was occupied during the rest of the day and rest of the evenings. It worked for me. When my brother wanted to get clean and sober, he called me up and I tried to take him to a meeting on 3 different occasions. But before I could take him to the meeting on the 3rd occasion, I got a call a night before the meeting that he was dead from a drug overdose. You know, alcoholism and drug addiction is a very serious disease. It's a biopsychosocial disorder. A lot of people don't recognize it as that. You got the bio part, which is the physical obsession. You got the psycho part, which is the mental obsession. And then you have the social part. And a lot of people don't think about the social part. But you know what? If I quit drinking and using, and I can't hang around with my buddies anymore, what am I going to do? Am I going to sit in my apartment all by myself? Well, that's not going to work very long. Sooner or later, I'm going to venture out and I'll probably end up relapsing. But see, here at Sober Living, we kind of get to reconfigure or redesign our social life into something that we can live with. We learn how to function in society as a sober person. And that's a very important ingredient to the recovery process. One more item that I think that we need to get into the recovery process is jobs. Now, if we can get people back to work in this biopsychosocial system, I think the success rates for people being in recovery is going to be a big deal. This is what we call our phase 1 at Clean and Sober Living. We have 2 phases, phase 1, phase 2. This is the initial place people will come to when they are beginning their journey of recovery. This whole area is recovery oriented. It's a community within a community. We have our own government, we have our own Congress, we have our own court, we have our own rule enforcement, and we are self-contained and we take care of ourselves. And this is called phase 1. Then after they complete phase 1, if they want to, they can move to our phase 2 houses, which there are 10 of those. And those are all single rooms, and they can live there with other people. As a college roommate would share a house with other people while they're going to school. This would look more like dormitory style living, 2 people per room, but they're all like-minded. The focus for being here is to be clean and sober, which makes that journey very easy to do. When you're out by yourself, your mind's telling you, I don't need to do this, I don't want to do this. But when you're here with everybody else, you kind of go with the flow. Peer pressure is really an incredibly powerful tool. It's a nice area. We now have 7 houses on this block. One of the houses is a detox facility because we realize that people can't just live at sober living alone. There's people that need to be detoxified. There's people that need treatment, so we've got a treatment program now. We also have outpatient for people who can't go to a treatment program that need to keep their job, for instance, and they can do outpatient in the evenings. And we also have that all-important interventionist, someone that will go out and talk to the family and talk to the individual who just doesn't think they're ready yet. Because they probably are, and like me, they probably just don't realize it.
What sober living really affords a family member, a son, a husband, a wife, is, say they're coming from a treatment center, and the chances of them going back into their own environment, their home, their apartment, their friends, that whole lifestyle, their chances of staying sober are not great. If they're moving here to clean and sober living, they're not just moving to a transitional house, they're moving into a community that is instantly, 50, 60, 70 people, where there's not just a few other individuals. It's this like little town of recovering addicts and alcoholics. And most of the family can't understand what an alcoholic or an addict is all about, what their addiction's really about. They can't understand because they've never struggled with those issues. They need to be in a community of people that are like-minded, that are going through those same feelings and situations pretty much on the same level. They might have a different degree of sobriety, but they're all on equal footing, and you can't put a price tag on that kind of an environment for someone that's early in sobriety. What I like most about my job is seeing people that are broken and helpless come in here pretty much the same way that I was, and then seeing the light come on in their eye and regain hope and rebuild relationships with family members and loved ones and get trust back and just be able to move on from what was a hopeless situation, which is exactly what it was like for me when I got here.